Hallelujah, they figured out nested tooltips and why they're so good. Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Sir Ryan, back in the flesh in the second daily update video for Civilization 7, because not only have we had the test of time, news revealed upon to us, we also have update 1.3.2, which I'm going to go through in detail today. As of the time that this video is released, the update should be live, all fingers crossed. Although please bear in mind, I am filming this slightly in advance. So, you know, slight subject to change, but we should be pretty accurate. Update 1.3.2 is rolling out now to all platforms. It's been a while since our last update, a full year, you might even say. Oh, you. While our update cadence has been a bit lighter recently, it's because the team is deep in the trenches on a major update we're calling Test of Time. See yesterday's video if you want details on that. We're currently heads down on some of the biggest systematic overhauls we've ever attempted, including a total rework of victories and the option to play as one civilization through every age. These are massive efforts, it's true, and we're taking the time to ensure they land exactly where they need to. You can read all about these long-term plans in yesterday's video. Plug, plug, plug. Even so, we didn't want to wait until spring to bring you some of the things you've been asking for. Update 1.3.2 rolls out today, and as a thank you for all of the support we've received from our community this past year, we're bringing back a fan favorite, Gilgamesh, for free to everybody. This update also focuses on making the day-to-day experience of building an empire a bit smoother. We're introducing the first phase of nested tooltips to help clear up complex terms on the fly, and a new appeal lens to make hunting for high happiness tiles much more intuitive. We've also included a balance pass for France and Vietnam to ensure the meta stays fresh whilst we work on the larger shifts coming later this year. Alright, let's have a look at things. Right at the beginning, Gilgamesh returns. Your best friend and king of Uruk, Gilgamesh makes his comeback to Civilization. This leader is free for all Civ 7 players with the 1.3.2 update, so as long as you're playing an up-to-date version of the game, everyone will have him regardless of the DLC you own. Just bear in mind, you have to have the most updated version. I'm saying that not because it's obvious, but because some people on some console platforms probably won't have access to him immediately. I'm not sure about that though. Whether he was your favorite ally in Civ 6 or you've never met him before, Gilgamesh is best known for his prowess in battle. In Civ 7, his emphasis on endeavors helps him to maximize their value with allies. If you're playing as Gilgamesh, make sure you form those alliances quickly, and if you're not, becoming his ally first may benefit you greatly. Gilgamesh is most effective when he invests in befriending one primary ally. Not only does entering a war whilst having exactly one ally gain him additional war support, but his mementos reward this one ally approach as well. Now, what does he do? Diplomatic, militaristic, fine. Gain war support, I believe this is +2, when you have exactly one ally. If you defeat an enemy unit, gain influence equal to a set percentage of its combat strength. This is half as strong as Lakshemabai's, so instead of 100% influence, it's only 50%. All basic endeavors are unlocked. Yeah, they literally all of them. From culture to science to economic to cities to food and also war support. You can do any of the endeavors. Additionally, endeavors with allies don't count against the limit of having one endeavor of a given type active at a time. So essentially how you think about that is, let's say I have two people on the map, an ally and a neutral party. If I send the neutral party a scientific endeavor, we both get a little bit of science, I can't send another scientific endeavor out because you can only have a maximum of one. However, if I send the scientific endeavor to my ally, I still count as having 0 scientific endeavors. So I can still send another one to the neutral party. Or if I have two allies, I can send one to the first ally, one to the second ally, and still a third somewhere else. Additionally, allies can support your endeavors for free. So every time you send an endeavor to an ally, it will come back supported and maximized in power. Now, a little bit of a glimpse behind the scene. In the recent playtest, I played Gilgamesh. I played him a couple of times. He was really fun. And he actually plays a little bit differently than you would think, because there's this idea that if you have one ally, you can get +2 war support on all wars, which is pretty good. However, he's a lot better than he first seems, because he has access to every endeavor, and endeavors to allies don't count as being there. You can just send another one. You can have a war endeavor with as many allies as you have. So let's say I have 4 allies. Okay, I don't get the +2 war support, but I can send out the additional combat strength endeavor 4 times. In fact, no, not 4 times, 5 times, because I can send it to a neutral party. +3, +6, +9, +12, +14 combat strength. You get the idea. Gilgamesh, if you have allies, is an absolute beast. He is brilliant. And this applies to any endeavor as well. Admittedly, some endeavors get a little bit weaker as you go through the game. I mean, science is really good at the beginning of the game and not so good at the end of the game. But sending out 5 copies of endeavors means you can get some seriously crazy yields. There is one problem. You still have to pay the influence. So Gilgamesh has a massive, massive need for influence, and you can't spend that influence on anything else. City-states, chances are if you're using allies, you're not going to have a lot of influence left. So you make influence, obviously, by attacking and conquering. City-states tend to be your enemies because you would rather kill the units and raise them than befriend them in the first place. Interesting dynamics, very different to a usual playstyle. The meta of taking city-states seems to be a little bit different for Gilgamesh, but builds that encourage influence accumulation, such as monument spam, villa spam, playing with some civs like Tonga, Greece. There is a lot of interest and overlap here with influence builds that makes him obscenely powerful. Yeah, he's fun. He's a lot of fun. And here he is. Just zoom in a tiny bit here so you can see his magnificent, very hairy form. He looks very, very realistic and different to Civ 6 Gilgamesh, I must say. I love the furs. I think the general look of him is awesome. He's basically a more badass version of Xerxes. I really, really like him. So yeah, as leaders go, big plus from us. So I think Gilgamesh has some really interesting playstyle. Nested tooltips. Look at what the icon is doing here. We have selected a building, and lo and behold, the stats of the building have sprung up, and there's a button you can press to lock it. And you see that yellow writing? You can then put your cursor on that and it's explained to you. That's right, nested tooltips have finally made it into Civ 7. Hallelujah. This is something we've been asking for a huge amount of time, and it's something that no previous edition of Civ has had before, so this is awesome. Nested tooltips are an upgrade to our current tooltips, allowing them to turn game terms into links that provide further information when inspected. Civ 7 is a deep game with lots of concepts that are new to the series, like warehouse bonuses, and concepts that have been around for a long time which we often take for granted, like wonders. With this update, we're upgrading our tooltips so that concepts like warehouses or wonders can be inspected to get a new tooltip with a brief explanation of that concept. There's still more detailed information to be found in the civopedia. Sorry, but these brief explainers are easier to access in the moment when you need a quick introduction or refresher on what exactly something does. Being able to nest information helps us to make our tooltips more concise, since we've taken advantage of this opportunity to graphically refresh the affected tooltips. Hallelujah, they figured out nested tooltips and why they're so good. Games that have been released from, I'm thinking very specifically developers like Paradox, have made use of this for some time. I'm really, really stoked for this change. These two changes together should make the tooltips more readable and thus the game more understandable. We know that the game is more fun when it helps you understand things better, as we saw with the production list changes in 1.2.5, and we're committed to continue improving the UI to better support that. Okay, a little bit of behind the scenes here. One of the advantages I have as a content creator with the recent Firaxis feature workshop is that we got to chat to quite a few of the developers behind the scenes in a little private way. And I actually spoke to the developer in charge of the UI, and the impression I got is that the UI is getting a massive overhaul in the game, and this is just a beginning step. I think it's going to be very, very few patches and updates we see going forward that don't have some sort of substantial update to the UI. So keep an eye on the UI. I think of all of the areas in the game subtly behind the scenes, that seems to be where a lot of effort is going in. And I very much support that because I do believe, like a lot of people, the UI is something that could be a lot clearer. This feature is something we're still actively working on, but we want to get to the first iteration of it into your hands right away so you can let us know how it feels. Unsurprisingly, Civ games have a lot of text, and we're doing this in phases, fair enough. And this is important to note, only some screens have this updated tooltip nesting. The tech and civic choosers, as well as the production list tooltips first, because they're the things you use the most often, and other places in the game still don't have nested tooltips. We're aiming to strike the right balance between providing useful information while not inundating the player to the point where it detracts from understanding. Absolutely agree with that. There is definitely a case of information overload. Have you tried playing EU5? Oh my lord, it is absolutely insane, and there is definitely such a thing as too much information on the screen at once. Do you think we struck the right balance? Let us know. Also, please let us know which areas of the game you find it most useful for us to focus on next. For example, we're experimenting with automatically locking a tooltip if it has been open for a few seconds and letting players configure that timing. Yeah, great. I think that's all really good. The one thing that I would love is the ability to right-click on things and to go to the civopedia. And also, once you're in the civopedia, the ability to go between articles by clicking on referenced objects. That would be very handy. I've been talking about that for some time. I really hope that gets put into the game at some point, but this is a good step. And selfishly, as a PC player, I think it's a really good first step because modders will be able to get their hands on the basic systems and they can improve the game quite quickly from it. Everyone else will be dragged into 2026 in time. Oh, look, it's green. This is the new appeal lens. As you can see, breathtaking, charming, which I believe is a new concept. I think breathtaking and charming have now been split out, whereas before it was just literally average or breathtaking. So this feels a little bit more like a simplified version of Civ 6 than the previous system. As we continue to evaluate happiness and set the foundation for bigger upcoming changes, we're working to ensure players always have the information they need to read the game. With this update, we are presenting a new appeal lens. This strategic tool is designed to help you quickly identify which tiles are breathtaking or charming, and even help you to spot natural wonders. Now that is a huge thing. I wish there was a map search. I wish you could literally search for natural wonders on the map and get taken to them, but at least now we have a way of spotting bright blue natural wonders. It is incredible how many times I have missed wonders like the redwood forest on the map because you just can't see them. It's spectacular. Along with this new tool in your tool belt, we've added a new one to ours. Previously, the tiles could either be appealing or not. Appealing tiles provided happiness, and the yield for happiness scaled by age. Now, appealing tiles come in two types, charming and breathtaking. So, okay, I did get that right. That's good. Charming tiles provide base happiness, while breathtaking tiles provide increased happiness, and this value no longer scales by age. Interesting. So we're going to see a lot more happiness in antiquity and a little bit less happiness in modern. That is an interesting change because weirdly in modern, it was very, very easy to break settlement limit by just settling on high appeal tiles all the time. I did a video on it. You can go as far over settlement limit as you want if you just use that mechanic. So I'm interested to see if that has suppressed that just a touch. We hope you use the appeal lens to help answer these questions throughout your empire building. Will I get the happiness I need to support specialists and buildings in my growing cities? Do I want to prioritize expansion towards high value natural wonders? Do I want to earn extra happiness to trigger more celebrations quickly? All good information. Now there is one note I would say just on first looking at this. I really hope the game explains in detail how a tile becomes breathtaking or charming. Is this something that simply happens automatically? Is this something the player can change? I'm thinking to Civ 6. Appeal was well documented in terms of what affected it. You could have woods, rainforest, marsh, floodplain, coast, all of these naturally things on the map, naturally spawning things on the map would change the appeal. But also putting down man-made things like districts and improvements, mines, quarries, oil rigs. You could manually affect the appeal of an empire. So I hope this information is in the game. You can see right now there are definitely systems. The coast is all green, which would imply coast still gives appeal. The areas around mountains, the same. But do buildings reduce appeal? Do things like mines and quarries reduce appeal? It's difficult to say. There are breathtaking tiles around that mine there. So we'll see. That information was quite difficult to get before. And now we are into the nitty gritty. This is coastal raiding. Coastal raid action for naval units has been updated to behave more like the pillage action. Naval units can still coastal raid the tile they are on as well as adjacent tiles, but no longer have the option to pillage. Coastal raid can still be used to activate discoveries at range and capture districts. Coastal raiding now provides yields based on the tile being raided. That was so buggy before. Matching yields gained when pillaging a tile. Before it defaulted to gold and health. Coastal raid now also benefits from abilities that increase pillage yields. Effects that are intended to only trigger on pillaging on land will specify land units in their description. Basically, land units pillage, coastal units coastal raid. It's pretty simple. It should just be that the yields are kind of now evenly matched between them. I like that. It's a nice update. And a couple of abilities have been updated just to make sure that it applies. We've spoken about the appeal lens. Expect a lot of references to happiness yields to change to appeal yields. AI behavior. This is always an interesting one. Diplomatic leaders will more properly use the military sabotage action unlocked in the diplomatic attribute tree. I don't think the AI needed more of an excuse to use sanctions, but here we go, even more. Militaristic units will properly use open the gates espionage during war and put more influence towards war support. Oh dear, deity is going to be tricky. All leaders befriend independence slightly more often. Individual leaders have had specific biases adjusted to better support their gameplay, including Franklin, Teach, Tubman, Himiko, Ibn Battuta, Rizal, Lafayette, Machiavelli, Emperor Napoleon, Saida, and Shungshak. Leaders with city-state centered gameplay more properly suzerain and incorporate city-states. Interesting that they put Tecumseh along with Lakshmibai because Tecumseh does not want to incorporate city-states. I wonder if that was deliberate. Leaders with personas have had their personalities slightly differentiated to vary gameplay, including Ashoka, Friedrich, Himiko, and Xerxes. And civs have had specific biases adjusted to better support their gameplay, including Greece, Shawnee, Siam, Tonga, Prussia, America, Britain, and Spain. Players will now correctly lose +1 gold effect from Pirate Haven when losing a trade route. I mean, this was such a minor one, sure. Oh, this is tragic. Changed rural district to just rural in order to avoid confusion. As part of this change, the effects of both Kajaz tradition and Sayyida al-Hara's ability now match their descriptions and only apply to urban districts. Oh, that's so sad. I had so much fun on my Sayyida run. Do you remember that? Where I had 7 million boats and I had infinite influence and culture because of it? Unfortunately, what they've done is they've now removed fishing boats being a district. They're just a rural town now. I think that is a clear correction of terminology. I think it's probably what they intended, but that nerfs her to the ground. That's a shame. That's a shame. Probably for the best though. Players no longer fail to receive +2 culture from ongoing diplomatic projects when this is all very niche now. Scanning through to see if anything stands out as being interested. Oh, there's a good one. Ageless fortified districts no longer lose health and wall defense bonus when transitioning to the following age. I have a theory that some of the bugs in the game, including the Red Fort bug, were related to this. There's a couple of unique districts. I'm thinking Mott and Bailey for the Normans. I'm thinking the Citadel for Assyria all have fortified strength. Now they should retain it properly. Hopefully the Red Fort bug goes away. Hey, we enjoyed that on the Civ Give. Naval units with the pirate ability are no longer able to be attacked through fortified fortified districts when targeted by neutral units. Does this mean that catapults don't work on them anymore? This was the big counter to Blackbeard. I'm intrigued as to how that plays out. And then some balance changes, some interesting stuff in here. Mughal India has been reworked to give even more gold at the cost of other things. So previously 75% extra gold yield and minus 25% all other yields. That 75 has now gone to 100%. We've been wanting to lean into the asymmetrical nature. Yay! We like asymmetry. This is what I love to see. The ability harder to make this a clean 100% bonus for a while, but waited to tweak the whole kit to support this change, as well as get a better sense of how the modern age was played by the community. While some abilities technically got debuffed a bit, overall we found this a decent boost to compensate. Stepwells have had gold transformed into food, so that's just a focus on food. 10% gold towards purchasing anything instead of 25%, so there is a nerf. You get more gold, but it is less usable. +1 food on farms for each adjacent plantation, and on plantations for each adjacent farm. That's just had the gold stripped away from it, focusing more on the food. They fixed a couple of things. And here we go. You can purchase wonders with gold, but they are more expensive. Okay, so basically they've given you more gold, but it's now worth less. I don't know how that works. I'm gonna have to play them again and have a think, because I mean, surely you would want less gold, but it's worth more. Okay, admittedly, buying wonders was such a fun part of the kit and is one of the reasons why Mughal is just so good at getting really quick modern age victories. Obviously that's gonna change with test of time, but yeah, interesting. Vietnam, I have to confess, I have still not played a game with Vietnam. They're one of the few civs I just haven't got around to yet. They've upped the culture. Every urban population, when you build a fortification, from 5 to 25 per urban population. Yep, sometimes we just buff stuff. I like that. This is the sort of note you want to see. And again, more culture when the unique settler settles near tropical. Excellent. France replaced militaristic with cultural. So they're taking a little bit of a lean away from the military kit of France and making them more of a cultural play. I don't mind that. The French Empire's focus on happiness and government made the diplomatic attribute clear, but the rest of their bonuses split pretty evenly between combat and cultural focuses. With the other changes to their kit with this update, we felt it was appropriate to adjust their attribute accordingly. Sure, they're going to do that with other civs as they go through. I don't mind that. We have a lot of military civs. I would rather have less military civs and more interesting combinations of non-military civs. We've got a lot of military at the moment. Changed the Grand Army combat strength effect from per adjacent unit to traditions slotted in the government. Wait, hang on, what? So instead of getting combat power per adjacent unit, which is naturally maximized at 6, we're now giving France the Lafayette ability of making them stronger for traditions slotted in the government. Oh no, that makes them so much better at military. I thought you were taking away the military bonus. Imagine French Lafayette now. Oh, don't. Now I really want to play French Lafayette. Oh, amazing. And then we've just given them a tradition slot. Okay, love it. Brilliant. The civopedia has had some stuff added to it, and it includes an entry for trade range. That is going to be hugely helpful. I'm glad we're getting more information in it. Again, I want to see right-clicking, and I want to see other pages of the civopedia connecting to other pages of the civopedia. Some controller changes, some general stuff. Added tons until next celebration underneath the government icon. That's brilliant. Mods have been doing that. I'm glad they saw that. A red outline around the unit flag of hostile city-states. Oh, that makes it so much easier to see. Brilliant. Oh, this is good. When clicking your leader portrait while in a diplomacy menu, it will open your diplomacy screen to the last open tab rather than going to the initial one. That's brilliant. Tiny little things, but these are the changes that help. Oh, I like this. Promotion options no longer remain selectable when the player views the promotion menu after adding and confirming the points. It was an ordering thing. If you give the promotion and then you keep cycling through next unit, it would always pop up. Hopefully that now has stopped. And to be honest with you, everything else is just tiny little tweaks. So we've got some big item stuff hidden amongst what is on paper a smaller update. I am very excited about the direction the UI is going. I think Gilgamesh is going to be a sleeper powerhouse, especially when it comes to military. And I really want the nested tooltips to work work fantastically. I do want to see more detail on the civopedia still. I want to see the appeal lens really properly explained. I want to see keyboard shortcuts on the lenses so you can go between them on the keyboard. It's a PC thing, I know, but it's important to me. But yet another patch where I'm reading this and I don't really have any negative opinions. It's more just more, give me more. So optimistic about the direction the game is going. Let me know in the comments, have I missed anything? Have I glossed over something? Do we think Gilgamesh is going to be wildly powerful, especially when allied to lots of people, if we just do endless war support or combat strength? What's the endeavor called? The military endeavor? Combat strength? You know the one I mean. I don't remember what it's called. Oh man, I'm so torn. This patch is so exciting. Yet I also want to play the Civ 7 build that was on the playtest and I can't because they've disabled it. You make me want to play a game in such a frustrating way. I like this patch and I hope you've been enjoying these update videos. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next video with some more actual gameplay. So until then, I've been Ryan. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.